Welcome back to the kitchen, fam. You got your boy Chris here, and this is Cooking with Chris. On today's episode, what are we gonna cook? Well, we're gonna make something so simple, but yet so delicious. And what am I referring to? Red beans. But not just taking a can of red beans and throwing it on the stove and letting it cook real quick and throwing it on a plate. No, we're gonna take these red beans and we're gonna make it Boricua style, because us Puerto Ricans, we're gonna take it to the next level. So sit back, stay tuned, and here we go. All right, fam, so let's get to cooking. So the first thing I did, I set my heat on medium. I put some olive oil in my pot. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some of the summer sausages, because this is what I have on hand right now. And we're gonna cook that down, let it get a little goldenness to it on the color. And whatever you're used to cooking with, you could also use ham if you want to. Whatever you want to do, there's really no wrong way. I mean, this is, just a different version of it. If you grew up doing it a different way, that's cool, but there's some things that I can't get in the area of where I live at because I don't have a Spanish market around me. So, I have to improvise on some things. So I'm going to use this summer sausage, and what we're going to do with that, like I said, we're going to let this cook down just a little bit, and then we're going to start building from there. All right, so our summer sausage is cooking down, so let's move into the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of course, none other than that homemade sofrito. Let's put that in there. Told you we taking these to the next level. Then I'm going to take some olives, throw them in there. All right, let's go ahead and give that a good mixture here. Let's mix that all together. Let's let these flavors start coming together. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead. We got that good and incorporated. We're going to go ahead and start moving into putting more stuff in here. We're not done yet. Now let's go ahead and add our sazon, and let's go ahead and add our ham flavoring. Let's go ahead and get that in there. And let's give that a good all right. Our next step we're going to do is put a little bit of tomato sauce in here. This is probably about 1/4 of tomato sauce. That's a Goya tomato sauce, but you can use whatever kind you like. So let's get that all mixed in there together. Make sure that's well combined. All right, now, so let's go ahead and move into our next step. All right, so now let's take a little bit of oregano, throw it in there. I say about a 1/2 teaspoon, or to your liking. Let's take a little bit of black pepper, put in there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in here. Not a lot, just a little, but again, do this to your liking. And one other thing I want to do, and again, this is all optional, I'm going to put a little bit of adobo. We're going to get that all in there. And now, the next thing we're going to do, the star of the show, which I've washed my beans, and they're ready to go. So I've washed them and I've cleaned them, and we're going to put these red beans in here. And these are a Goya brand. Again, you could use any brand that you like, but me, I'm going to use Goya. At least that's one thing I can get in the area I live. It's pretty funny. But, so let's go ahead and give this a mix, just real quick to incorporate that. And then we're going to come back in with some more things that we need to add to this, like agua, water. So, let's go ahead and get this worked in, like I said, and we'll come back in and add the water. All right, so now what we're gonna do, let's add that water like I talked about. We got 2.5 cups of water, all right? And the reason I'm putting this much water is because I'm going to put potatoes in mine. But before I do that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna allow this to simmer for about 15 or 20 minutes. So we'll put the lid on it and then we'll go on from there. All right, fam, so we're back over here. And the thing I forgot to mention, it just slipped my mind, was that, again, like I said, I was using potatoes in mine. And, you know, it slipped my mind talking to you guys about all these other ingredients and doing all that. But I put my potatoes in here, you know, off camera because, again, I forgot to mention it when I was on camera. But also, another thing with potatoes, if you're going to use potatoes, is, you know, get them in there a little bit earlier, you know, through the cooking process. So that way they have time to cook down. So actually, I end up, you know, cooking this here. I said about 15 minutes. So I actually end up cooking this down for about 20 minutes, okay? And so that's my bad. That's my fault. I'm sorry, fam, for that. But as you can see, these potatoes are fork tender. They're good to go. But if you're going to use any like butternut squash or anything like that, calabaza, you know, I don't have any of that in my area, none of that. But I do have squash in my area, but I don't like squash, so I didn't put that. So that's why I substituted it for the potato. But potatoes are done. Everything is done. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get this thing on a plate. And so here you have it, my rendition of Puerto Rican red beans. So it smells so amazing in here, just like any Puerto Rican dish that you cook. I may be a little biased, but hey, it is what it is. So check that out right there. Man, the potatoes, look how it took on the color. Man, the aroma of it all over a beautiful bed of white rice, you know. Now the only other thing is to give it that taste test, you know. So let's get that all mixed in there with that white rice. Look at that. Man, my mouth is just watering right now for this. So let's give it a try. I'm sorry, fam. Just man, the way all them flavors play together. I'm trying to give you, you know, the best description of everything, you know. And this food that I always prepare, you know, it always just takes me back to being a kid, you know, growing up in New Jersey. And I mean, you know, I always talk about food. It transitions into love, man, you know, because some of us, you know, grew up, you know, and I know I'm going off rant here just a little bit, but it's about food, man. And I always say that food resonates with people and families. So, man, and you know, I always say in my videos, try this with your loved ones. So try this one. This is something simple that, you know, you and your kid could do, or whoever, you know, introduce somebody to our culture, you know, if they've never had it. This is an easy way to do that, mate. And I'm going to pair this tonight with chuletas, which are pork chops, for those of you that don't know what chuletas are. And I'm going to have some fried plantains as well with this. Just a traditional Puerto Rican classic dish. And so, yeah, fam. So thank you for stepping back into the kitchen. And again, like I always say, hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Until next time, peace.